My name is Peter Cameron. The Humber was a distant memory, a flat, grey smudge against the horizon of my earliest recollection. Swinefleet. The name itself felt like the damp earth and the cry of the gulls. But Inverness is where I truly began, although I wouldn't know it until much later on, piecing together the whispers and faded photographs. A gamekeeper my father was, a solitary figure in a tweed jacket, the scent of damp earth, and gun oil clinging to him like a second skin. My mother, Helen. Her story was etched with loss even before I drew my first breath. George III, the piper, gone so soon. A year of marriage, then silence. 2 years later, she married my father. Then Jeanie. Inverurie. A name that sounds like a gentle stream, but for us, it held the briefest of lives. 5 weeks. Convulsions. A tiny flicker, extinguished. Yorkshire followed, then Grantham, where Thomas James arrived, a small, squalling brother. By the time the 1911 census man came knocking, we were in Hexham, Northumberland, a new name on the map, a new wind whistling through the eaves. Marshall came there, the baby of the family. Then Ballantrae. The salt tang of the sea replaced the inland air. Craigin's cottage became our anchor, a whitewashed stone against the green hills. Father was still the gamekeeper, his boots heavy in the path. And me? At 15, my hands, still a boy's hands, learned the feel of the soil and leaf, the quiet satisfaction of coaxing life from the earth. A gardener. The years unfolded with a quiet rhythm. Father and his work, the changing seasons painting the landscape around Craigin's. We were there, the Camerons, rooted. Then the whisper started, the low murmur of unease that grew in a roar. The world was tilting on its axis. I was no longer a boy tending roses. I was a man, and then the call came. The Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. The green hills of Ayrshire gave way to the alien landscape of Normandy. The fighting was a blur of noise and fear, the air thick with the smell of diesel, and something else, something metallic and sharp. Colne, Falaise Gap, names that would forever be etched in the soil and in my memory, if I had survived to remember. But I didn't. August 17th, 1944. Killed in action. 37 years. Glenapp, Ayrshire. That's how they remembered me. Son of Peter and Helen Cameron. No mention of a wife, there wasn't one. My life had been the turning of the seasons, the scent of the earth, the camaraderie of men in uniform. And then nothing. Banneville-la-Campagne. Row upon row of white stones. 6A24. My marker. Surrounded by others who never made it home. The fighting had been fierce in those weeks after Colne fell. Father lived on until 53, back in Ayr. Thomas James followed in father's footsteps, a gamekeeper amongst the heather and grouse. Marshall, he seemed to vanish, preferring another name, another life. I remain here, in this quiet corner of France, a son remembered, a gardener turned soldier. The wind whispers across the fields, carrying the echoes of a life lived, a life cut short. The earth remembers us all.